So, my beautiful people, today I want to react to the most deadliest mountain in the world. Let's have a look.
Let's start with the deadly and slowly work our way towards the ones that are pretty much a death sentence. Number 5, Mount
Mount
Everest.
Everest?
Well, I bet you didn't expect to see this one at the
Yeah.
top of the list. Mount Everest is one of the deadliest
Oh,
mountains on Earth, claiming the
yeah.
lives of over 340 people. Now, if climbing Everest is on your bucket list, you might as well delete it now. Not because you lack the discipline or the endurance, even though
Okay.
both are true, but because the mountain is exclusively for the rich. Since climbing the mountain will cost you anywhere from $30,000 to $160,000. Now, of course, everyone who makes it back alive says that the high price tag is worth it, since it pretty much guarantees that you will always have something to talk about at cocktail parties. The cheaper packages will get you a Sherpa that has maybe made the climb once or twice in his life, while the more expensive packages will get you a Sherpa that has been making the climb since he could walk, and is strong enough to hike you out on his back if it comes down to it. But let's talk about what makes Mount Everest so deadly, starting with the dangers that you will encounter the moment you arrive. You can fall off the mountain, fall through the mountain, become the mountain, and the all-time classic, the mountain falls on you. If you're lucky enough to make it to the first base camp, well, you better get comfortable, since you will be spending the next 2 to 3 months there. And with no Wi-Fi or electronics, you will be going life and death with boredom, as your body slowly acclimatizes to the altitude change, a necessary step to lower your odds of getting altitude sickness. But after a couple of months, it's finally time to begin your journey. As you work your way from Camp 1 to Camp 2, 3, and finally 4, you will face an entirely different set of dangers. You see, the entire time you've been worried about the mountain trying to kill you, but the thing that could end up taking you out is
Wow.
yourself. Since it's very common for climbers to develop cerebral edema, a condition where the brain swells due to low amounts of oxygen, which can quickly turn deadly. Then there's high altitude pulmonary edema, which is a condition where the blood vessels in the lungs constrict, leading to fluid buildup, and again, can quickly become a death sentence. But let's just say you're one of the lucky few who make it to Camp 4 perfectly healthy, which is great since you're gonna need that energy for the final push to the summit, which also happens to be the deadliest portion of the entire mountain, and is where the majority of deaths occur. And as you push your body to its absolute limit, you will struggle to catch your breath through your oxygen mask. Soon, your lungs begin to scream in agonizing pain as they feel like they're on fire, with your legs, hips, and back feeling like they will give out on you at any moment. But you just continue to tell yourself, one more step, knowing that all suffering must eventually come to an end. And what felt like an eternity later, you finally reach the moment you have dreamed of and worked so hard for. You have successfully made it to the back of the line, where you will have to wait for hours and hours to get what you came for. Which, of course, was always a picture you could use for your social media profiles. Number 4, Kangchenjunga. The danger quickly takes a
This is
massive jump
crazy.
from our last
I can't go
entry.
through
Located on the
all
border
those
of Nepal and India lies
risks
the
just to
third
take a
tallest
picture
mountain
of
on
my
Earth,
social media profile
Kangchenjunga.
normal.
The mountain has a hefty 21% fatality rate and has only been conquered by 312 people. Now, you're probably wondering, why on earth would anyone choose to climb a smaller and way more dangerous
I'm even
mountain than
wondering
Everest? Well, it's
how.
obvious. Since in the very rare case that you meet someone who has climbed Everest, you'll be able to say, "Psh, that's it," and walk away. Now, before we talk about what makes this mountain so deadly, let's first cover all the benefits of choosing this mountain over Everest. It's cheaper. And now that we've covered all of the benefits, let's talk about all of the negatives and what makes it incredibly deadly. Now, of course, you will be facing all of the dangers that come with climbing tall mountains, like avalanches, falls, brain swelling, blindness, and everything in
I can't
between.
visit any
But the
mountain
dangers that are
within those
specific to
go
this
through, man.
mountain are its truly challenging climbing sections that require actual skill. Unlike Everest, there are no ladders to help you cross over deep crevasses, so you either have to create new alternate
Oh.
routes or have previously competed in the long jump. There also aren't hundreds of climbers that you can follow
The
to its
hell?
peak, since you and your crew will more than likely be the only ones on the entire mountain. Now, at first, you might think this sounds like a benefit, since you won't have to deal with the long line at the peak. But think again. This also means that in an emergency, it would be highly unlikely that you would ever receive any outside help,
Are you
thanks to the
going
mountain's
through this
extremely
mountain
remote
alone or with a group of
location.
people,
But
group
perhaps
of
the most
guys?
terrifying thing about this mountain is its severe weather changes that come without warning. Heavy rainfall, wind, and snow can show up within minutes and can quickly turn deadly. And even if you're one of the lucky few who reach the top of the mountain, you still wouldn't be allowed to step foot on its summit. Since the mountain is considered sacred by the locals, doing so would not only be extremely disrespectful, but would also guarantee you a solo descent to the bottom. Number 3. Nanga Parbat. Nanga Parbat, better known as the Killer Mountain, is located deep in the mountains of Pakistan. It is the 9th highest mountain on Earth, with a whopping fatality rate of around 22%. Now, at first glance, the mountain looks pathetic, and even looks like a mountain you could climb with a good night's sleep. But boy, would you be wrong. The mountain has only been successfully summited by 261 people and has claimed the lives of 62, many of whose bodies remain on the mountain to this day. Some lay deep in crevasses, while others remain on the side of the trail. Like on many of the tall mountains, removing and carrying the bodies down is just too dangerous, and they will more than likely remain on the mountain until we have the technology to bring them back to life. But let's talk about what makes this mountain so deadly compared to the others on the list. Not only are you dealing with all the previous dangers that come with climbing tall mountains, but now you must face one of the most challenging and exhausting climbs on Earth. Here, all of the skills you have learned at your local indoor rock climbing gym will be tested, since the mountain is home to the Rupal Face, the deadliest and highest mountain face in the world. It spans over 15,000 feet, with an average slope of 50 degrees. But for hypothetical sake, let's just say you managed to make it up the face. Well, sorry to break it to you, but you would still have another 4 to 6 days of climbing before you reach the summit. And once you snap your little picture and the excitement and euphoria slowly wear off, you will come to the haunting realization that you still have 3 days of descending. Number 2, K2. Again, we take another jump in danger. K2 is located in Pakistan and is the 2nd highest mountain on Earth, only behind Mount Everest. There have only been 377 climbers who have reached its summit, with the mountain claiming the lives of 96 climbers, giving it an enormous 26% fatality rate. But let's get right to it and talk about what makes this mountain so deadly and different from the rest of the 8,000 plus meter mountains. It all comes down to this terrifying section called the bottleneck. And if that doesn't sound scary enough, well, maybe the frozen mummies and skeletons around the site will make you reconsider. Now, of course, this would also be a great time to check your equipment before attempting the deadly section, since this is one of the rare opportunities where you will have the chance to upgrade your gear. To see just how deadly this section can be, we just have to take a look at an incident that occurred in 2008, when 11 climbers lost their lives in an instant due to an ice avalanche. But let's just say you're one of the lucky few who survived all of the dangers and worked your way past the bottleneck. Well, you would still have to climb another section called the Summit Peak, which is yet another challenging stretch that will push you to your physical limits. And if you're one of the very few people to get past this section, you will be rewarded with one of the most beautiful views in the world. But here's the thing. Just because you made it to the top of the mountain doesn't mean you're safe. Because the horrifying reality is that roughly 80% of deaths actually occur on the descent, when you are completely exhausted and not thinking straight. Number 1, Annapurna. Deep in Nepal's mountain range sits the deadliest mountain on Earth. The mountain is only the 10th highest mountain on the planet. Now, I know what you're thinking. The deadliest mountain on Earth sounds like a complete pipsqueak. But don't let its height fool you. This challenge is exclusively for professional climbers. And even then, 1/3 of those professional climbers never make it back alive or at all. Annapurna has an enormous 32% fatality rate. There have only been 365 people that have reached the summit, while 72 climbers have lost their lives in the attempt. But let's get right into it and talk about what makes this mountain the deadliest in the world. From the moment you begin your climb out of Camp 1, the mountain will try to kill you. With every step you take, you must remain laser focused, making sure to avoid the hundreds of cracks and gaps in the ice, which could easily take you on the most unexpected slip and slide. Now, if you make it to Camp 2, you will need some much deserved rest. Well, that's if you can even sleep, since avalanches hitting campsites are not uncommon from this point on, and occur at much higher rates than any of the other high mountains. But let's just say you're one of the lucky few who managed to get a good night's sleep and begin to make your way to Camp 3. From here on out, the odds of you running into a storm are very high, since hurricane level winds, blizzards, and storms are very common and come without warning. And if by some miracle you reach Camp 3, you can rest easy knowing that you were completely surrounded by deep crevasses that don't seem to have an end. This is probably where I would just turn around, as it's starting to not seem worth it. But again, if you happen to make it through the night once more, you will now make your way to the final camp, Camp 4, which will require you to climb a vertical wall of snow and ice, and
No
the
more
dangers of
mountains
ice
for me.
avalanches coming down
No
on
more
you and your
mountains.
team are very real. They are actually so common that most climbers are pretty much guaranteed to see at least one. But if by some miracle and stroke of luck, all your hard work pays off and you reach the peak, you will finally be rewarded with one of the most beautiful views in the world. So much so that you can almost say the climb
Okay.
was worth it.
This is funny. You're making all this effort just to get a snap or a picture for like I was there, I was in this mountain, look at this. Oh, this is crazy. Man, no more mountain for me. See you guys. See you in the next video.